The reason why this subordinate clause is indicated as the indirect interrogative clause is the arrangement of the subject and the verb. The inverted arrangement of who is he stated with the verb is ahead of the subject he reveals the intention of the speaker who allows the listeners to participate in the conversation. The response of the listeners complete this interrogative clause. This statement becomes able to be completed by the listeners. From the participation of the listeners in the conversation, the inverted arrangement of the statement is accepted as the interrogative statement. Compared with the interrogative clause, who is he? This subordinate clause is arranged with the subject and the be verb. So we can accept this clause as a declarative statement that the question mark is not needed. The interrogative pronoun who becomes the subordinating conjunction because the pronoun who indicates the same person in both clauses. The indication about a person is shared. I heard about who he is. The main clause is complete when the subordinate clause who he is of the preposition about. The speaker indicates the object of the preposition about in the main clause with the subordinate clause who he is with the trait as a pronoun. The person indicated by the pronoun who defines the subject he as an existing one. There are two more sentences. The second sentence is this: who mediates every relationship is Jesus Christ. The speaker indicates the subject of the be verb. Subject of the be verb, who is a person with the subordinate clause linked by the subordinating conjunction who that has the trait as a pronoun. The subject of the be verb is a person described by the predicate in the subordinate clause. We can understand that the person described by the predicate in the subordinate clause is the subordinating conjunction who with the trait as a pronoun indicates the subject as the person described by the predicate mediates every relationship in the subordinate clause. The sentence can be analyzed to be a result of the integration. The two clauses are integrated. The first interrogative clause is this: who does mediate every relationship. The second comparison to be the main clause is this: the person is Jesus Christ. The speaker transforms the first interrogative clause into the declarative clause because the interrogative pronoun who indicates the person as the subject described by the transitive verb mediate in the first interrogative clause, corresponding with the subject, the person of the be verb in the second declarative clause. The speaker clarifies the subject of the interrogative clause indicated by the interrogative pronoun who is the same person as the subject of the be verb is in the second conference, the person. The subjective complement Jesus Christ defines the subject. So the subjective complement Jesus Christ, the subject the person, and the subject of the transitive verb mediate in the interrogative clause indicate the same person. The speaker states the transformed declarative clause as the subordinate clause to practice the role as the subject in the second declarative clause. The interrogative clause with the interrogative pronoun who becomes the subordinate clause. The third sentence is this: I call you who I love. The speaker applies the subordinate clause who I love, which is linked by the subordinating conjunction who as the objective complement to define the people as the object to receive the definition of the transitive verb call from the speaker as the subject. The subordinate clause starts with the subordinating conjunction who. The subordinate clause who I love defines the object of the. So we can understand that the listeners are the people who receive the definition of the transitive verb from the speaker. The speaker defines the listeners as the object in the main clause, stated in the fifth type of clause with the subordinate clause who I love. This sentence is stated in the fifth type of clause when we consider the subordinate clause as a pronoun. This analysis is valid when we see a subordinate clause as a pronoun, same as a word. We can analyze the sentence with the two clauses before the integration into the sentence. The first declarative clause is this: I call you friend. The second interrogative clause is this: who do I love? The description about the first conference is this: the speaker applies the noun friend as the objective complement to define the listeners as the object to receive the definition of the transitive verb call from the speaker as the subject. The speaker indicates the object as the people indicated by the interrogative pronoun who to receive the definition of the transitive verb love from the speaker as the subject. In this clause, the interrogative pronoun who has the role as the object to get the definition of the transitive verb love from the speaker as the subject. The speaker who clarifies the object indicated by the interrogative pronoun who correspond with the objective complement friend in the first conference to be the main clause integrates into a sentence. The speaker links the two clauses from the fact that the pronoun who in the interrogative clause corresponds with the noun friend that practices the role as the objective complement in the first declarative clause because the interrogative pronoun who and the noun friend indicate the same people.